configuring your Zoom room, physical setup, and suggested practices. In this lesson, you will learn the following: the optimal placement and setup for displays, cameras, speakers and microphones, computer and iPad, and other considerations. First, let's get everything connected. Let's set up a dual-screen Zoom room with a Mac Mini. The computer will have 4 wire connections running to it: HDMI from display 1 to computer, HDMI to Thunderbolt adapter from display 2 to computer, USB from camera to computer, and USB from audio device to computer. Now, the iPad controller will be connected to the Zoom room via Wi-Fi. Lastly, a wireless keyboard and mouse will be connected to the computer via Bluetooth. The keyboard and mouse are only really needed for the initial setup of the Zoom room. Once set up, you can put these peripherals away. Let's look at displays. A Zoom room can support anywhere from 1, 2, or 3 displays. Smaller rooms can handle 1 to 2 displays, where larger conference rooms can handle up to 3. The display you use should be HDMI, but brand is up to you. Where you position and mount the display is important. Generally, the display should be mounted 48 inches from the floor. Now, the size of the display will depend on the distance between the display and the furthest people from the display. Please see the chart on screen for recommended number of displays and display size. There are many different cameras you can use with your Zoom room. We recommend some hardware based on Zoom room size here. Please click the link to explore that list further. For medium-sized to larger-sized rooms, you will definitely want to have a PTZ camera or pan, tilt, and zoom. As with the display, where you mount the camera is important in order to establish virtual eye level. This helps establish a better and more natural feel for your virtual meeting, and people aren't having to look up or down at a camera. The camera should be mounted below the display, generally 42 inches from the floor. Although you can use separate speakers and microphones, there are plenty of great all-in-one solutions available. For larger conference rooms, you may want to have a full DSP solution, for example, ceiling-mounted microphones and speakers, or a speaker/microphone combo solution that also has satellite microphones to help pick up all the attendees throughout the room. Otherwise, a single USB audio device, like the Revo Labs UC500, should work for all other scenarios. This device can be placed on the conference table, generally in the center of the table. In order to have a nice, clean Zoom room, we suggest mounting the computer behind the display or near the displays on perhaps a shelf or inside a cabinet. This allows for slightly easier cable management. As for cable management, there are a few options, one being tables with cable management built in via grommets and trays underneath, or you can use conduits to manage the cables. For the iPad, we recommend using some type of case or mount so that it is properly stood up in a more stable manner. On the list of recommended hardware, we also provide some iPad case and mount recommendations. The hardware you select and how you set it up are not the only things you should consider when setting up your Zoom room. There are factors about the room itself as well. The 4 main factors to consider are lighting, sound, furniture, and color. First, let's talk about lighting. Ideally, the light source should be at a 45-degree angle top down at the subject. Light that is directly above the subject will cast unwanted shadows. And the light temperature should be around 3200 Kelvin to give a natural skin tone. Next is sound. Soundproofing the room can be very important. For example, if there's a lot of glass from windows or walls, this can cause a lot of reverberation. Therefore, you may need to apply sound treatment to the room. There are acoustic panels to sound treat a room, but even furniture can help. And speaking of furniture, you should have furniture in your Zoom room. Furniture can help with sound treatment, as well as provide a place for people to sit. Also, make sure the furniture color isn't too dark or too light. A bright white couch, for example, can cast too much glare on the camera. A dark black couch, on the other hand, will cast shadow or not provide enough contrast to see the people in your Zoom room. And speaking of color, the room color is the other factor you should consider when setting up your Zoom room. Ideally, you want a neutral color, medium contrast, and soft texture. A flat matte blue or gray work very well.